Hey everybody, Andrea Emmes here, and welcome back to Voices of Calm. So today I wanted to read you something that was funny and hopefully bring a little bit more levity to your day. And I wanted to read from a young adult paranormal book. It's a spin-off of the Bill the Vampire series from the tome of Bill Universe, and it's called Second String Savior by Rick Gualtieri and R.E. Carr. Here's the cover of it. I don't have the hard copy, unfortunately, but I do have it on my iPad. So let me just get to the chapter. It's a super cool story about a high school girl named Jessie who is thrown into this crazy situation. There's vampires and Sasquatches. Like in this chapter, there are two. Their names are Huge and Burp. And her and her friend Gary's also a wizard, are going through all kinds of crazy stuff. And I don't want to give anything away, but that's basically where we're at. Oh, parents, just fair warning, there is one curse word in this. It's not a huge deal, but this is more for teens. That being said, I hope you like it. Kushtaka Rhapsody. Is there such a thing as death otters, Gary? More of the adorable hellions crawled from the pool and surrounded us. Apparently, he replied, wide-eyed. For the moment, Diana's purple bubble seemed to dissuade the creatures, but I couldn't help but be unnerved by the fact that Huge stood with us trembling, while Burp continued screeching from where he'd backed up against the wall. Your spell will not save us, Huge warned. The Kushtaka are too powerful. Even more of the critters arrived, surrounding us. However, the playfulness of their antics was seriously downplayed by the oversized obsidian teeth filling their mouths. Kushtaka? Gary asked. I've seen that word before, but can't quite place it. Huge reached up and grabbed at something around his neck. It was a leaf amulet like Boo made for me. They are eaters of souls and bringers of chaos. To speak their name is to invite disaster. The lead otter stood up, revealing itself to be nearly my height, and nodded as if in agreement. He motioned to a few of the others who moved off to form a circle around Burp, and then turned back toward us and smiled? Okay, that was freaky. You know of us, yes? The head death otter hissed, and getting freakier by the second. You know of what we want and what we shall have? I couldn't help myself. I burst out laughing. Not just a chuckle, but a donkey-esque belly laugh until the tears rolled out of the corners of my eyes. The whole thing was just too absurd to take seriously. The death otter cocked its head. I see your friend has gone quite mad. Delicious. His face fell, though, as I dropped my knees, clutching my sides as my ribs started to ache. Okay, we get the point. Really, you can stop laughing now. I could think of a few things more hilarious than being chided by an evil otter, especially one who was totes adorbs. The Kushtaka turned his attention to Gary. Is she always like this? He shrugged, prompting me to slap him on the arm. That was enough to let me catch my breath. Come on, guys, let's be serious. This is a peace conference, and I'm pretty sure the big glowy guy upstairs specifically forbade eating any of the other delegates. The Kushtaka chattered amongst themselves while the leader grinned. Huge, meanwhile, bent over me. They are not delegates. Underwater causeways such as these are their ancestral home. We have invaded. Oh, so these are the locals. A sinking feeling began to war with the humor of this situation, although I still found it hard to take our plight seriously. War? The leader hissed. Peace? You taste the same regardless. The ones surrounding Burp began to advance on him. I turned to Huge and Diana. Any bright ideas? Maybe a weakness. You know, sunlight, crocodiles, maybe country music? Huge shook his head. Nothing can stop the... Did you say music? The lead otter's ears perked up, and he skittered to face me again. He twiddled his tiny little thumbs in glee. Music is part of the soul. Okay. So you guys like music? Huge stammered.
To parley with the Kushtaka is pure folly, hairless holy.
One song for your lives, the lead otter said. If it fails to please us, we shall feast. I glanced at Gary. Hopefully he had his phone, or maybe a magic radio. Either way, as far as deals went, this one was a piece of cake. Fine, a song. What do you like? I know every Weird Al song from Bad Hair Day. Diana screamed as the lead death otter slipped right through the magical barrier, as if it wasn't even there. It slithered against me, pulling upright so we could be face to face with no concept of personal space. I think it was supposed to be unnerving, but I had to stifle another round of giggles. Please tell me you're one hell of a musician, Diana said, dropping the barrier now that it became evident it was useless. The otter took my hand, his paws so cute, and led me to the water's edge. He stepped back and looked up. Almost as if on cue, the will-o-wisps concentrated their energy, bathing me in a spotlight. Little jerks. The death otter cocked his head. Be forewarned, human. You must give us a song straight from your heart, something that belongs to you and only you. Wish someone had told me it had to be original before I volunteered. Give us a song that is a piece of your soul, the death otter said, twiddling his fingers like the world's cutest James Bond villain.
A great anthem of your conquests,
Huge suggested. Maybe something that gets your motor Maybe something that gets your motor revving, Diana added. I turned toward Gary last.
Don't look at me, he said. I'm tone deaf.
Thanks, Gary. It has to be my own song? The otter nodded. Nothing like staring into the eyes of an evil weasel to give you a terrible case of stage fright. Actually, no, the stage fright was pretty bad before my life was on the line. I thought of all the pop songs I listened to as a little kid. Maybe one of them? As if in response, the otter gave his head a single shake. He opened his mouth and leaned in, as if anticipating the kill. No, it had to be more personal. Something special. I let my mind wander back, before all of this, before even the debate team, back to my happiest memories. That's where it would be. But it needed to be quick. The otter swarm was closing in on my friends as they stood there in mute panic. Something about these creatures oozed pure unadulterated fear. To all the others, but not to me. No time to wonder why. I needed to focus on my dad. My dad and the special breakfasts we used to share on his days off. That was it. I cleared my throat, and the otter backed up ever slightly. Here goes nothing. I want some toast, I sang weakly. All the otters froze. I want some toast. I want some toast. I want some toast. Toast, 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 toast. Yeah, those lyrics definitely sounded a lot better when I was 5, but it was all I had. That song and the memory of singing it to my dad on Sunday morning. The head otter stared deep into my eyes. His mouth opened wide, and he made a little go-on motion with his paw. His cronies turned and stared as well. That was pretty much the entire song. He made the motion again. Okay, you asked for it. I want some toast, I sang a little louder. The lead otter burst into applause while a bevy behind him sang in the same tune. She wants some toast! I want some toast! She wants some toast! The entire Kushtaka gathering sang in harmony, complete with a light show from the wisps. My friends could only watch in slack-jawed amazement as one by one the death otters leapt into the water, each with a different tone of toast, 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 toast. Call me crazy, but I could have sworn I heard an orchestra playing in the background.
When did we step into a Disney movie? Gary asked as the lights flickered.
The lead otter danced around me as the mystical music swelled. All eyes fell to me. I needed to end a song that culminated in some lightly browned Wonder Bread. Usually there weren't production values and a bunch of soul-eating monsters to live up to. And I sang, making it up as I went, I want it now! I even added some jazz hands, because those always made my dad laugh. All the Kushtaka followed in turn before diving back into the water. At last, only the leader remained, a strangely pensive look on his face. He touched his paw to my cheek, and in my mind's eye, I saw a snowy day with honey butter toast, hot cocoa, and Christmas music in the background. I could hear kindergarten me singing that terrible toast song with my father joining in, equally off-key. But there was now something different about the memory. A shadow curled up into the kitchen chair opposite me. It grinned, and suddenly I understood. My happiest memory would now forevermore be tied to killer otters. And somehow that made it even more awesome. The Kushtaka chattered, turned, and dove into the water. Wait, did this mean we won? A moment later, he emerged with a clam and held it toward me with both paws. I guess it would be poor form to refuse the clam of peace when offered.
You have pleased us, Jesse Jameson Flores. Please accept this token of our gratitude.
Wait, how did he know my name? The Death Otter smiled.
I know you, so it is only fair you know me. You may call me this one.
This one? He pointed to his chest proudly.
Yes, and this one will be seeing you again soon.
I did not like the way he cackled as he swam away, under the flittering lights of our antagonistic wisp guides. Everyone was staring at me, standing there with a stupid clam. I motioned to toss it over my shoulder, but stopped as Huge's eyes grew large with fear. Okay, guess I'll keep the clam. I walked over to Gary and Diania. Were we really saved by a song about toast? Gary shrugged. Guess so, but perhaps we should get out of here before they come back and demand an encore. He then snapped his fingers, and a ball of light erupted from his hands. Look at you! Gary nodded toward Diania. We hooked up. Magically speaking, of course. Uh-huh, sure. Gary and Diania led the way out, me following with Huge and Burp taking up the rear. By the time we reached the surface, I'd concluded that maybe those otters hadn't been bad. By the time we reached the surface, I'd concluded that maybe those otters hadn't been so bad after all. I mean, they seemed scary down below, but had turned out to be pretty reasonable in the end. We rounded a bend in the forest and spied a group who looked out of place. A trio of suited bloodsuckers and a whimpering human they were taking turns using as a snack. The vampires were too busy to notice the dark shadows slipping through the trees until they were surrounded. A familiar shape approached them.
Perhaps you'd care to give us a song.
The fuck? It took less than 10 seconds for the otter horde to descend on them. We could do nothing but watch as a spray of blood filled the air, followed by ash. By the time they were finished, there was nothing left but bloody snow and dust. This one turned my way and gave a little salute before picking his teeth with a bone splinter and scampering back off into the shadows. After a moment, I turned to my friends. Remind me to never lose this clam. Death otters are a thing. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. In the meantime, be safe, be blessed. Take care.